All right.
Hey. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar on integrity and peer pressure.
Yes.
So just to quickly introduce ourselves.
I'm Simon. I'm a recent graduate, and if you were here 2 weeks ago, you would recognize me.
That's right. This is our second webinar on a similar topic of integrity.
Yes.
So Simon graduated from Delphian school just very recently, a month ago.
Yeah.
Which is just really exciting. And he's been here helping out the school and helping students and helping deliver, I believe, other webinars too.
Yes,
You've been doing.
I did one earlier today.
So so he's just a great person, and he's certainly had his own experience with integrity and peer pressure. And so I felt he'd be a valuable resource to have do the webinar with me. And then my name is Julia. I'm a staff member here at the Delphian School in Oregon. And up until very, very recently, I have been the student ethics advisor. And what that means is that I work with the students one-on-one to help guide them and direct them toward, making good choices and making good decisions for their futures and becoming more, we use the word self-determined, meaning that they just kind of process the concept of applying ethics tools to their own lives and apply those tools. So a primary function of what I had been doing up until, again, just a week ago was working with the students one-on-one and covering all different types of situations that they encounter in their lives and seeing what I can do to assist them and what types of tools I can help them practice so that they use those tools in their own lives. So that's why we're here, and that's why we're talking to you. The last webinar that we did, we had a lot of interaction with all of you, and I really, really, really loved that.
Yeah.
And it made it really fun, and it felt like we were just having a conversation, no matter where you guys were, and obviously we're in Sheridan, Oregon, but it made it feel like we could just really talk. So I definitely want to encourage you to continue asking questions. If you have comments or, any concerns or things to share, please feel free. And we'll be continually looking at our question and answer box. Chat window. I don't know, whatever
question and
proper
answer.
word is for it. Okay, good. So let's just see who's joining us currently and who's with us.
We have 17 people.
17 people, great. Well, hi to all of you. I think we see a couple of familiar faces.
Yes.
From last webinar, so that's really
Milo
fun.
Said my sister thinks you're pretty, Julia.
Oh gosh, thank you. And then hi Elijah. Hi Violet. Love that name, Violet. Sounds like Gianna. Hi Gianna. Good afternoon to you too. And Nathaniel's wondering our favorite book. Gosh, that's a good question, Simon.
Favorite book?
You're probably a lot more recently well read compared to me.
I mean, from the Delphi program, my favorite would be Democracy in America. I think the reason why is because where I come from, I came from Taiwan, and you know how Taiwan's relationship with China isn't so great. And I think democracy is just something these days people are more aware of, and I think it's a great book.
Nice.
And it's really went into the problems of how things might become if people are not aware of what's happening. Yeah.
Cool. I feel like,
what is yours,
off the top of my head, from the Delphi reading program, 1984 was my favorite book. I absolutely loved that book. And even after having graduated from Delphi 20 years ago, I've read that book at least another 3 or 4 times. I love that book. I think it's just wonderful.
My name is spelled with a J.
Gianna with a J, yes. Tracking. Okay, good. So we're gonna launch into a couple things here. The first thing I would like to do is read you all the definition of the word integrity. Okay. So what it says is, and I believe, we pulled this from the Oxford Dictionary. It's the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness, and also the state of being whole and undivided.
Right.
Yeah. And then as far as how that word has evolved through time.
So, this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the word integrity evolved from the Latin adjective integer, meaning whole or completeness. And in this context, integrity is the sense of wholeness deriving from the qualities such as honesty, consistency of character.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So over and again, there's this concept of wholeness and completeness.
Right.
When we're looking at the word integrity. And I think it really makes sense when you look at Mr. Hubbard's article.
Right.
So the article that this whole webinar is based on is an article called Personal Integrity, and it is by Mr. Hubbard. And I'm going to read it to you. This time, I believe we made sure that we sent out the article to you all in advance. So that you could get familiar with it as needed, and you could also have it with you when we're talking about it. But I'm going to go ahead and read it just for fun. So, Personal Integrity by L. Ron Hubbard. What is true for you is what you have observed yourself. And when you lose that, you have lost everything. What is personal integrity? Personal integrity is knowing what you know. What you know is what you know. And to have the courage to know and say what you have observed. And that is integrity, and there is no other integrity. Of course, we can talk about honor, truth, all these things, these esoteric terms, but I think they'd all be covered very well if what we really observed was what we observed, that we took care to observe what we were observing, that we always observed to observe, and not necessarily maintaining a skeptical attitude, a critical attitude, or an open mind, but certainly maintaining sufficient personal integrity and sufficient personal belief and confidence in self and courage that we can observe what we observe and say what we have observed. So that is the beautiful article that I spend a lot of time talking to students about as far as their own, how they feel about it and how they want to apply it to their life. Right. I know that we plan to make peer pressure, right? You know, how personal integrity and peer pressure tie in, and how peer pressure can cause you to possibly, you know, violate your own personal integrity. And we had some ideas on some things that maybe could be done about that if you are looking for solutions. I want to, again, kind of ask if anyone has any questions. What did you guys think about that article? Is there anything about it that for you really stands out as being, you know, really important or something that impacts you? Do you have any examples of it that really came to mind that you want to share with, you know, the rest of the webinar attendees? So I'll give you just a minute to think about that and let us know in the text box.
That sounded poetic.
ISIS. Oh, cool. It is. It's a beautiful, it really is a very poetic article. Yeah, I like that. And Nathaniel says that we sounded nice and smart. Well, thank you, Nathaniel.
That was kind of confusing.
Okay. Some confusion on it. Okay. Do you want to let us know what you're confused about? What part of it?
They have the article, right?
They should have the article. If you don't have the article, we can definitely make sure we send it to you. But if you could let us know what you're confused about so we could maybe try to pinpoint and help you a little more to figure it out. Yeah. Okay, good. So what is next for us, Simon? Let's see. Oh, we were going to talk about peer pressure.
Yeah, we're going to talk about peer pressure. So the definition of peer pressure on Google Dictionary is the influence from members of one's peer group. Yeah.
I remember we were talking a little bit about, obviously when you hear like, oh, I was peer pressured, you automatically think it was something negative that somebody got kind of pushed into doing. Right. It was interesting that when we were looking at it,
yeah, we found out that there's
can be positive. It can actually be positive peer pressure. So you do have situations where people do get persuaded to do something they don't feel good about, and they violate their own integrity on it. And you also have situations where there's positive peer pressure, which I thought was kind of cool when we started thinking about it and different examples of it. I know we talked about an example of a positive peer pressure is, you could have somebody form a club. Let's say you have a common interest to learn chess.
Yeah, chess.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't know, science.
Yeah, maybe you want to learn how to build a rocket that you can shoot off. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something. There's all kinds of common interests that people are going to always have. And so I thought that was really interesting to think about it, because I can think back and remember times where I was peer pressured in a positive way. Like, hey, join choir.
Yeah.
Hey, participate in this theater play that we're putting on. I mean, these are all really potentially positive experiences that somebody could go through and that they could grow from and they could make new friends from. And anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, that I think that we should start a movement to
focus on the positive.
Peer pressure be a positive thing.
Instead,
have it be a positive movement in a positive direction.
Yes.
I think that would be fun. What do you guys think?
Amelia said she doesn't have the article.
Didn't get the article. Okay.
So James could probably send it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this topic is explained even more in the course Personal Value and Integrity. And it was one of my favorite courses and I recommended it.
Yeah, great. That's great, Milo. I think I know your dad, Milo. If your dad's name is Keith, I went to school with him. So tell him I said hi if that is in fact your father. Okay, and yes, I completely agree that any class that you can take about integrity, the class that we offer here at Delphian, it's called Integrity and the Code of Honor.
Right.
And it is available on the Heron website. And I know that we did it because I made sure we did it this time, but maybe if there's for some reason that some of you didn't actually receive the PDF, then.
Oh, Keith says so.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That is, so it's the same Keith. That's so great. I love that. Full circle, right? When things come full circle, It's fun. Okay, so we talked about a couple of ideas. Oh, we had a couple more ideas on how we can start changing the concept of peer pressure and making it into a more negative, positive thing. Another idea that we came up with was students that come together to help out a new kid in school or a new kid in your class or a shy student.
Yes.
So we thought that was kind of cool, thinking about, like, let's say you're in choir and you convince someone to come into choir with you and they're like a little shy and you're like, no, come on. And
just creating
and you make them feel safe and comfortable. And it's a friendly,
that's definitely a
welcome for them.
Positive peer pressure.
Very nice. Yeah, exactly. So another thing we thought about was study groups.
Right.
Study halls or studying at
just pushing
your
each
friend's
other
home.
more.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Some of you guys might be at the age of taking your SATs soon or needing, certain exams.
Schoolwork.
Right. So that could be another really positive way that it could be peer pressure that bands together in a really good way.
Right.
So if there's any other ideas, that anyone has on how to create positive peer pressure, we would love to hear them too.
Please put them in the Q&A box. What is your favorite movie or TV show? What is your favorite movie?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, I have so many. I mean, classics. I'm gonna go Pretty Woman, Dirty Dancing.
I don't know any of them.
What was the other one? TV show.
Ugh.
Gosh, so many. Just too many to even talk about on the webinar, honestly. How about you, Nathaniel? What is your favorite movie and your favorite TV show? Also, here's another fun one. Are there movies or TV shows that you all can think of that display, where the character displays tremendous personal integrity?
Yeah.
Or a super lack of personal integrity?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, either way, I would love to discuss that with you guys, because Simon and I were trying to come up with some ideas of movies and characters and books that really showed the concept of people using personal integrity in a really great way, or in a really terrible way, but at least, something that we could talk about and go over it some more.
Yeah.
We do have some interesting ideas on that. We can cover those in a little bit. Okay, so
what's
oh, Harry Potter.
What's
nice. I think it's a character in Harry Potter. Oh, who displayed integrity?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, Milo? Because we're not familiar, like
I'm not familiar
right
with
off the
Harry
top
Potter.
of our head with who that character is. I'm trying to figure out who that
Oh.
would be. Okay, so to move on to the general way that we hear peer pressure talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it creates sometimes a struggle and
Yes,
an
it
internal moral conflict and problem when you have friends that want to do something or that are,
Trying to do something
trying to
cool.
have you do something.
Yeah.
And you're then sitting there like, I don't feel good about this, or I don't think
Should I
this is
do
a good thing
that?
for me to do. But then you end up having this kind of problem, right? There's one
dilemma.
kind of intention and another intention, they kind of lock up. But you can have this problem where you're like, oh gosh, if I don't go along with my friends, I'm going to be really uncool. I'm going to be, a nerd, or
they're not going to like me.
Right. Yeah. They're going to hate me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be judged or made fun of or called a wimp or whatever it might be. So that's something that can sometimes be tough, where it's not the right thing, but your friends are all like, so what? Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
And you're sitting there going, I don't feel good about this. What am I going to do? So we wanted to talk a little bit about what are some things that you can do.
There's some.
Sorry, let's pause that for a second. We're having a lot of communication from you guys, which is cool.
Is it Isis? Is that how you say it? Maria from The Sound of Music.
Oh my gosh, yes, Sound of Music.
I've never watched that.
Love that. Oh, you got to watch it, Simon. It's one of the greats. It's one of the greats. It's long and it's a commitment to get through it, but it is so, so, so good. Okay.
And Tony Stark does not have a lot of personal integrity.
Tony Stark is Iron Man, right?
Yes.
Why doesn't he have integrity? I'm sorry, I do not remember. I'm not like a super Marvel girl. So do you remember why he wouldn't have integrity?
I mean, I feel like he had integrity in Endgame. He sacrificed himself for the whole. Pretty much everyone.
So that was a very full of honor and courageous thing to have done.
He was probably talking about some other Iron Man movies.
Part of the other movies, yeah. Okay, well, sorry, we don't totally remember about Tony Stark.
And then Milo said, Harry Potter, he did not have any personal integrity at all. He was one of the henchmen of Harry's archnemy.
Oh, he was in He Who Shall Not Be Named clan. He was part of the Voldemort. You're not supposed to say the name. It's like bad luck.
Yeah.
But okay, so Milo's saying that guy was Milo. I'm sorry. Milo was saying that he was part of that guy's clan.
I see.
I agree.
I just never fully watched.
Anyone that was you have not watched Harry Potter?
Not fully.
Okay, guys, I'm just gonna let you know that I'm gonna give Simon a study assignment at the end of this webinar, and it's gonna be all these movies that he's just missing out on. Yeah. Okay, so James is agreeing with us, our friend who helps us with tech support on the webinar. He said, yes, Simon's getting a study assignment. It's happening.
And Lion King.
Yes. What characters in Lion King? Are we thinking? Let me see. Janice is Lion King. Okay.
Lion King.
Are we talking about Simba? Because Simba's the child, I believe. The baby. The one where it's like that.
They didn't hold up thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that might be what we're talking about.
She says
Naya. That's the mom, I think. I can't quite remember what the mom's exact role was. So if you could remind us about that, that would be great. But I love that you guys are thinking with these ideas.
Yeah.
All we're trying to do is get this topic a little bit more familiar and a little bit more grooved in to your, daily life and your existence. It's something that we're always practicing, we're always learning, we're always looking to improve ourselves and our own integrity and ethics and responsibility. So I just think it's really cool when you guys are telling us all these different characters and these different movies that you remember that relate to it. I think that's great.
And Violet says Scar from Lion King.
That was the evil uncle, I think, who was really evil and was, I think, if I remember correctly, trying to take over for the king and was trying to kind of do some really nasty, underhanded stuff to the king. That's what I remember.
I see.
Oh, you guys, Ready? Here's Julia's example for personal integrity.
Yeah, he was trying to take over. Violet said, yeah, he was trying to take over.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There we go.
You guys, I just want to talk for a second about Moana. Okay. First of all, I have a 3-year-old daughter. So, I mean, I've seen Moana approximately 1,078 times. The thing about Moana, I just love this girl in this movie. So she has this gut feeling as she's growing up and coming of age, and she's supposed to take over the tribe for her father. I believe they live in Hawaii or somewhere in the South Pacific, and her father's the leader of the tribe, and she's meant to fill his shoes when he's ready to retire, when he passes away. So she's kind of being grooved in on taking over for her father. And she basically has this incredible grandmother who's really in tune with like the spiritual world and all of, and she does all these, like, she goes into the water and she dances, and this grandmother is just really cool. Anyway, so Moana is constantly warned, and almost to the point where her father is even relatively threatening to her, where he's like, do not go out there, meaning don't go past this certain point in the water, past the island, right? And one day they run out of fish and food and everything starts going wrong. And Moana's like, we need to go fishing outside of our regular comfort zone. And her dad's like, no. And she's like, yes. Anyway, the very short version of this beautiful movie is that for me, I feel like the main character of this movie, Moana, demonstrated absolutely incredible personal integrity. She stuck with what she knew. She had so much courage. She literally felt that it was correct to leave her tribe behind so she could go on this journey to figure out what she needed to figure out. And I don't know how long she was gone for, maybe weeks. And she encounters this, he's technically called a demigod in the movie. And he's a riot, and he's hilarious, but he gives her a hard time. He doesn't make it easy for her to get done what she wants to get done. Yeah. And in the end, she gets done what she had wanted to get done from the beginning, saves her tribe, saves her family. I just think it was such an incredible demonstration of someone having courage. Okay, so I'm going to circle back to the article really quick. And in the example that I just explained about Moana, so this is exactly what she did. So personal integrity is knowing what you know. What you know is what you know. And to have the courage to know and say what you have observed, and that is integrity, and there is no other integrity. So this girl, she's, probably whatever, 16 years old or 15 years old or whatever. And she sets sail by herself, or she has her like little friend chicken. It's like this little silly little chicken who's not very intelligent. Anyway, she brings this little chicken with her, and oh yeah, her grandma did die. That's right. Yeah, that was really sad. Anyway, don't make me cry. Okay, so the thing about this that I think is just really beautiful is that Moana had the courage to say what she knew and what she observed. Right. She knew that there was something that could be done to solve the problem. And she knew that there was something that she wasn't being told in regards to her whole tribe's history. And she was right. Yeah. And she stuck to her, gut, and she stuck to her integrity. Okay, I'm going to get off my raving about Moana, but I hope you guys, if you haven't watched it, I hope you watch it and you just think about that as you watch it, just remember she's, for me, probably currently my little favorite demonstration of that. How about you, Simon? I know you had some thoughts on this too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of us has watched Avatar. Yeah, so what's the main character's name? Jake?
I don't remember. Oh, Jake. That sounds familiar. Jake sounds familiar. Jake. Yeah.
He was a part of he's a human being. And they were going to go to Pandora, which is the alien planet.
With all the blue people?
Yeah, with all the blue people. And then Jake was trying to be a spy and then just trying to be friends. At the end, they were trying to take away all the resources, cut down the trees and all that. But instead, he started building relationship with the tribe people, the blue people. And then at the end, he went with the blue people and then started, I guess, uniting with the blue people and then start going against the human. Because he knew that the right thing to do is to not destroy the planet and then stop the human from destroying their planet.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Was the whole reason he had been sent to that planet as a human, was it to help cut down the forests, or I forget what the exact...
He had the because he goes into this machine and then his like spirit or whatever brain signals goes to the blue peoples.
And that's why it's called Avatar, right? Because
Yeah.
he has a blue person in existence, but it's just his avatar because his real
body
person is still.
Yeah, but at the end of the first movie, he fully transferred into the blue person.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Violet said Avatar is one of my favorite movies. Same. I can't wait for the second movie.
Oh, they're making an Avatar too?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So let's talk about that for a second. So what did that actually mean for Jake? Could Jake have lost his job?
I think or
did he lose his job? I mean, what did that really mean for him to have to take that stand and say, I don't think this is right and this isn't correct? And
yeah, he probably knew that every human on that ship is going to go against him, but he still stood up and then go with the blue guys to do the right thing.
Right. What did the humans end up thinking about him? Do you remember? How did that
I know there was a general who was fighting him.
Okay.
And then it was at the end it was pretty much a big war between the blue guys and the humans. So he really had some courage. Yeah. And some honor. Definitely. To do what he felt was right and what he felt was the correct thing to do. Yeah. Also, he fell in love with the main character. So that's right. Yeah. It's a nice romance in there. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, that's a great example. Yeah. And then did we hear from anyone else on their favorites? Let's see. They were really mad about Jake and not wanting to leave his brother. Oh, Avatar. The other humans were? Yes. I got you. Yeah. The other humans were upset with him because he didn't want to. How do you say this? Mandalorian? I didn't watch that. I didn't watch it either. Is that that's the Star Wars the new one, show, yes. I think. Yeah. My husband and son watch it, but I didn't watch it. Yeah, same. Okay, cool. Milo, we didn't watch Mandalorian. James is giving us a thumbs up that Mandalorian definitely had some. Okay, I am going to barge in here. Yes, all right, please. Guest star. Tell us. Here's the thing. Tell us about it. I love that show, The Mandalorian. Thank you for bringing it up. I'm sorry. I'm listening from out there. I have to be part of this conversation. It's great. I love it. Integrity is too important to not pay attention to when someone's talking about it. Thank you, James. And in The Mandalorian, he's basically a hitman. He's hired to go and like kidnap people who have broken the law, right? Well, he gets hired to do this thing to kidnap this person. He's not told who, he's just told where to find them. And he goes there and it's this kid. And he's like, you know what? I can't do it. I can't turn this kid into the person that hired me. I have to help this kid out. And he, at great personal risk, decides to help the kid instead of doing his job. And it's the right thing to do. And it's difficult and it's dangerous. Yeah. And I think 100% of us would make the same choice. Okay. That's all. Or should make the same choice. Exactly. Yay, James. Thank you. I just said nice bow tie, James. Oh, thank you. Yes. I love James's bow ties. Lego Master who loves Star Wars? Yeah, that's me. Oh, yes. James is confirming he is the same gentleman. He loves Star Wars and Lego Masters. James is great. I loved that cameo appearance from him. That was wonderful. Yes. Okay, my friends. So I'm going to just look over really quick what we haven't covered yet. Oh, solutions to peer pressure. That was an important part of what I wanted to talk about. Okay. Yeah. Good. So, okay. So I understand that sometimes it's hard to not only not go along with your friends, but also attempt to, change their mind and change how they're acting and how they're thinking about what they're doing. So Simon and I talked about this in advance, where there's a couple of steps that are things that can be done that aren't necessarily the most drastic and most tough way to go about asserting your own personal integrity, right? I'll let Simon cover these. I think you have a really... No? Okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, there's 3 solutions that we came up with. I mean, the first one is just say that you don't want to, which is the the easiest. I mean, not
It's like
not the
just a
easier way.
light, it's a light
Right.
way, you know?
Yeah.
It's a light way. You're not having to deal with making your friends super mad at you.
Right.
You're not coming across as judgy, you know, to them. So I mean, we can play out an example. I think that might be
An example.
fun.
Let's see.
Okay, so try to peer pressure me into doing something.
Try to peer pressure me.
Yeah.
Okay, Julia, why don't we, I don't know, sneak out of the school at 12 o'clock tonight, and then, I don't know, drive around somewhere.
Oh, I mean, gosh, I go to bed at 10, honestly, so I'm going to be knocked out solid by midnight. Plus, gosh, I don't know. There's so many crazy things going on in the world right now. I don't know that I want to be driving around. But anyway, okay, cool. All right. Good night, Simon.
Good night.
See you later. Anyway, that's just a light example of how you can kind of, you know, just navigate yourself out of it without being like, Simon, if you're not comfortable with that. If you're comfortable with telling Simon, that's a crazy idea. I don't think that's a good idea to do. I don't think that's safe. By all means, tell him that. But I'm just trying to give you some ideas where until you can practice it and get really, really comfortable with it, it's not, you don't have to put that burden on yourself of like, if I do anything less than that, it's not good enough. No, you can totally just, as your initial skill that you can learn, just practice moving away from doing those things, you know?
Yeah.
Good.
And the second solution is attempt to get the other person to stop.
Right. So there's a million ways that somebody could do that.
Yeah.
You could do it very gently. You could do it very forcefully. You could do it by telling on the person. I mean, there's so many ways that could be done.
Right.
I'm a big fan of just talking to a person directly, which, you know, takes
courage.
some confront and some courage to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of, in whatever way is most comfortable to you, to just maybe try to gently persuade the person.
Right.
Like, for example, on this thing of let's sneak out at midnight. You know, Simon, honestly, the more I think about that, the more of a not great idea I think it is. I mean, I know the staff would be worried sick about us. They would probably have to go on a whole search party. Julia's phone would be ringing at midnight. Anyway, you know, there would be a lot of other students that would be worried about us. Our parents would be worried about us. I mean, so you can always use your own persuasive skills in a gentle way to try to convince another, you know, to do what you think is the right thing. Yeah. Good.
Is there any examples that happen in your life where you encounter like either positive or negative peer pressure?
Oh, wasn't somebody saying we needed to type it in
type in the Q&A.
Is there a question box?
Us or them?
I think us. I think they were asking us to type a question.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe I misunderstood that.
Yeah. So if you have any examples, feel free to put it in the Q&A box.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Let me see what else we wanted to talk to you about today. Oh, I had another movie I wanted to talk about. I'm just like a Disney. I just love Disney. I love Disney princesses. And honestly, I pretty much think in a lot of the Disney movies, the main characters
There's like always
really
some
do
sort of
have
integrity.
strong integrity.
Yeah.
The next one I wanted to talk about was the movie Frozen. Also a movie I've happened to have seen approximately 2,765 times. So the basic way, yay, Isis, fellow Disney.
I love Disney.
Disney Unite. So in Frozen, the quick version of it is there is a family, and there's two wonderful young daughters that grow up together. At a certain point, their parents pass away and they're left alone together. The older sister has like magical powers, and she's the older one. Oh. Elsa is the older one.
I see.
And she can, you know, she can basically with a wave of her hand just form an ice castle or accidentally freeze your arm if she gets a little upset. So she doesn't have a very good handle on the magical powers for a long, long time. So what they do is they give her these gloves that she can wear that kind of like force her magical powers to stay trapped.
Right.
So basically the two sisters grow up not together,
Right.
kind of isolated in different parts of the house. The younger sister never understands why she can't be friends with her older sister. Anyway, sorry to back up for a second. There was an incident, and it was an accident, where the older sister accidentally hurt the younger sister with her ice powers.
Yeah.
And I think it was like she got her head frozen, or I don't know, something happened to her head.
The whole body, I think.
The whole body. Anyway, they had to take them to these special trolls or something to cure them. And so, and the soundtrack is just marvelous too, by the way. I mean, just such a great soundtrack, you know. Anyway, so okay.
Oh, so frozen Anna's heart.
Is the heart. Yes, thank you, Amelia. Her head. Oh, head, heart.
What?
Point is, she got a bit frozen and it messed her up. That's really kind of at the end of the day what happened. So then, Anna loves her sister, is so heartbroken that they don't get to be friends and they don't get to hang out as sisters. So the first time that they really interact with each other in years and years and years and years is the day that Elsa, the older sister, is becoming queen of their land. So there is an incident, that day, and Elsa ends up getting upset. She feels just really uncomfortable because obviously, she has to take her glove off, and she's really uncomfortable with that. She takes her glove off, and she starts accidentally freezing the thing she's holding, and so she gets kind of freaked out about it. And anyways, it becomes this whole problem, and she then ends up accidentally creating out these ice shards out of her moment of upset. And so then the whole town gets really concerned and scared that she's dangerous and she's a monster. I think they even call her a monster. She's a monster and all these things.
Yeah.
Right. And then they kind of banish her. And I think she also kind of goes off on her own. I think it's kind of both. They banish her and she wanted to be on her own anyway.
Yeah.
So she goes off on her own, which is when she sings that amazing song, Let It Go, which is actually about her finding her integrity, where she's recognizing that she has actually incredible and unique abilities that she can use in incredible ways. And she doesn't really, need other people to be, I just need other people's opinions about it. And she's just like, I'm going to be who I am. That's kind of my takeaway from that song, Let It Go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just love the soundtrack. It's so good.
Yeah.
Even though I've heard it 2 million times, I still just love it. So anyway, so then Elsa really gets to kind of figure out who she is and what she's all about and what's important to her at that point. In the meantime, Anna goes, I'm not letting my sister just, rot out in the frozen forest. Like, I'm going to bring her back. I'm going to figure this out. And I promise you, my sister is not a bad, evil person. And I really admired Anna for that, where
she breaks out of her shell.
Yes, Elsa totally breaks out of her shell and Let It Go. I agree. And really, I mean, before that too.
She makes
snowballs. Yeah, that ice castle that she built was just really
wasn't it in the middle? Was it
incredible? It's like in the middle of the forest in Norway or wherever.
Yeah.
And it's this like mansion made out of ice that Elsa is just creating by flicking her wrist around. And it's phenomenal. Anyway, so then there's more stuff that happens with Anna, and she definitely has a terrible encounter with a man that she thinks loves her, and she thinks she wants to marry him. He ends up being totally not good guy. Totally a not good guy. But even when Anna recognized that he was, had evil intentions toward her and her family, she didn't think twice. She was done, man. She was like, my integrity is to myself and to my family. And I really just admire both of those sisters for that a lot. So, yeah. So, do you have any other movies? I can't remember if you told me you had other ones that stood out.
I have another one, but I don't know if this is a common one. I don't think many people watch this one. What is it? It's an Indian movie. It's called The Three Idiots. So
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah. It's about really choosing what you're passionate about, because these days a lot of parents force their child into something they don't want to do. Like, if you want to be a doctor, because
Right.
a lot of money,
Right.
lawyer, a lot of money.
Right.
Instead
As
of
opposed
doing,
to, what do you want to do with your life, and how can I support you? And like,
right, and
so
what you actually like. Yeah, that's the summary of it. But it's a great movie. Their philosophy is very similar to Delphi, so if you have time, take a look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you your study assignment for movies.
Oh yeah.
So we can put that on my study assignment for movies. So Three Idiots. So what about that displayed integrity for you?
I think because their parents were really conservative, or not really conservative, like stereotyped. Like, oh, because in India, if you're a male, you want to be a engineer, and if you're a woman, you want to be a doctor. But not everyone's good at being that, or not everyone likes the subject.
Right.
But their parents are trying to force them into it. Instead, that one friend encouraged the other two to stand up to the parents and actually persuade that, oh, I'm passionate about photography. I mean, it's a little less money, but I like it.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So the movie was following the story of the person that became the photographer.
Not become the photographer, but it was three guys. It's called
The Three Idiots.
Three Idiots.
Yeah.
They were in They met in college, and then the story come back and forth. Like, it's after they graduated, before they graduated. Like, the story jump back and forth.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's really nice.
Cool. Movie. So it follows the lives of each of those three.
Or
no.
I guess a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Love it. Well, your challenge, our webinar friends, is the next time you watch a show, the next time you watch a movie, the next time you read a book, look out for those characters that you feel demonstrate significant integrity and significant courage in some way.
Yeah.
Or actually, that went really fast. We're literally out of time
Yeah.
already. Are there any final questions that anyone has before we have to end the webinar? Our friend Isa says Percy Jackson has good integrity. Percy Jackson. I'm trying to think of who that is. I don't remember. We don't remember that one. We're sorry.
Oh, because is it the movie or the book?
I don't know.
The Narnia books are some good ones like that.
Our friend Elijah says the
What
Narnia
about the
books
third
demonstrate
solution?
integrity.
Oh yeah, we never went over.
Oh, the third solution.
The third solution.
Oh
so
my
the third
gosh, we
solution
skipped it.
is to talk to your parents, or any. I mean, if you're in
Tell an
school,
adult.
yeah, just an adult.
Just to get help from an adult.
School counselor, any staff members you're comfortable talking with. Especially
when it's actually a dangerous thing. Like, for example, if I found out my friend was planning on skipping campus at midnight and going to go drive in a car, that's a little dangerous. Like, who's going to drive the person? Is it going to be a good guy or a bad guy? And so at that point, I would probably just jump to an adult and say, hey, there's something concerning that's being planned.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so those are the main things we came up with that are hopefully helpful solutions for you if you're experiencing peer pressure, and also our challenge to create a more positive
peer pressure,
center around the word peer pressure by using positive peer pressure toward great things and good goals and good groups and nice things. So that's another challenge that we're going to give you. Great. Okay, good. And then everything that we talked about in this webinar, I know I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. It is in a book that is published by Heron Books, which is the Delphian School's sister company. Heron Books is a group full of geniuses who have cultivated the entire Delphi program over, I believe it's 40 years now or so.
Yeah. And
they're just absolutely incredible people. And the curriculum that they've created for the Delphian School is so rich and so full of gems. It's hard to even say one, but I will tell you that the Integrity and the Code of Honor book and the resultant class that I took as a student here has been one of the most helpful things in my entire life
Right.
that I've ever become familiar with, and is kind of one of those gifts that keeps on giving. I mean, it's a skill. You
Like,
practice it
for your whole life.
for your whole life. You
Yeah.
get better and better at it. You get more and more comfortable with it.
Right.
I mean, here I am sitting here and doing a webinar and talking about it. Never would I have thought I'd ever be at that
Yeah.
comfort level on the topic, but here I am. But I learned about this information, I don't know, 22 or 23 years ago now.
Been practicing.
And since then, it's just been something that's become more and more and more and more natural.
Right.
Certainly not perfect at it, but it's definitely something I continue to strive to do better at. So, thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you for
and
tuning in.
participating in this webinar with us. You guys have been so fun to interact with and talk to. And we really just appreciate your time, and we hope we've been able to deliver a little slice of our school into your home during these interesting times that we're living in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you all. And do we want to, wasn't there a discount code that we wanted to show them? There's a discount code we want to show you guys in case you do want to check out any more of Heron's books that they have for sale. I know we're doing a
30% off.
Percentage off.
Yeah, so use the promo code Delphian30 for 30% off at heronbooks.com.
Great. So that's if you would like to purchase any of the books from Heron.
Yes.
Again, some really incredible gems of knowledge for you all to hopefully help you in your lives and your educations.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again for tuning in.
Yeah.
Take care and do
have
well.
a good day.
Yeah. Bye-bye.